Hi, it's Chris from Driver Training Limited. We've been audit registered trainers for almost 20 years, which means the DVSA recommends you come to people like us to learn to become an instructor. In today's video, we're going to give you the top 10 reasons that are causing you to fail your ADI Part 3 if you're on a trainee badge or a pink badge as it's known. What are they? Well, stay with us. We're going to break them down. Number 10 is not answering pupils' questions. When you're on your pink license, one of the things that can happen is you get in the habit of you saying to a pupil, perhaps, take the next road on the left. And the pupil says, is this it? Yes, comes the reply. Well, that's not answering the pupil's questions. You've helped them negotiate it, but if somebody said to your pupil now, how do you identify a road on the left? How do you know where the next junction on the left is? What would they say? Would they be able to understand it? Perhaps you just say, well, we'll cover that later and then forget. So answering the questions means if that question came up again, please take the next road on the left. Is this it? You could say to them, well, how do we identify a road on the left? They should then be able to answer it. But if not, what happens is you get in the habit of doing that on your trainee license. You come to the part 3. That's not acceptable. Number 9, insufficient feedback for safety critical incidents. So if they make a serious mistake, you need to pull up and go through it with them. Very often on a trainee badge, you find you won't be doing that. Stop, Chris. You're in third gear, put it into first. And then nothing else gets mentioned. Well, if I'm going to go across a crossroads from minor road to minor road and I'm in third gear and there's a lot of traffic coming, potentially if I go to pull out and stall, I'm going to be in front of any oncoming traffic. Would you class that as a serious fault? So the pupil needs to be aware what fault happened. Why is it so serious? How do we avoid it? Why did it happen? How do we fix that to make sure it doesn't happen again? If the pupil comes up to a junction just looking right, don't forget, Chris, do your observations. Nothing else gets mentioned. But what if that pupil would have pulled out and there's a car parked on the left and they're just looking right? Would that have been a serious? Yeah. So your pupil needs to know that. So make sure anything that's classed as a serious for your part 2, you would pull your pupil up and discuss it. Number 8, poor timing of intervention. So we see something developing and we just leave it till the last second and go stop. Now, if you're working on an independent section, that's fine. But for your part 3, that's not usually or very rarely the case. So your timing needs to be ahead. Is anybody heading towards this crossing, Chris? There's a bus in front of us. What could this bus do? So therefore, what position do we need to be in if he does stop? It can also be the other way that the pupil has progressed, the pupil is getting it, and we're still over instructing by saying, so check your mirrors and signal down. Why are you intervening? They're doing it. Or you've said to them, I think you can handle this, Chris. So shall I leave the next couple to you? Yeah, that's fine. And then suddenly we're fully guiding them again. Why is that happening? Now, that can happen a lot on your trainee license, but in the part 3, it's no good. Number 7, links with really pupil analysis, which we'll come on to in a bit, but not using KUSC, KUSC, knowledge, understanding, skill, or confidence. What is their reason for making a mistake or getting something wrong? There, Chris, you went to go past the 30 sign at 40 miles an hour. Need to look further ahead. Well, is that the cause? Do you know how to tell the speed limit of a road you're on? Yeah, if it's quite wide, it's 40. If it's not, it's probably 30. So it's knowledge. They don't know the speed limit. Do you know how to tell a change of speed limit? No. I'm learning with family and they just say slow down or speed up. Or my other instructor never taught me that. If you're doing that on your badge, part three, that's not good enough. It can be the same mistake. We recently had a trainee bring their pupil for some, while they did some of their part three training. The pupil had failed because on a set of filter lights, the lane for straight ahead went green. This trainee's pupil who was waiting to turn right went to go with them. So the trainee said, well, today, what we're going to work on is anticipation and planning. I said, okay, could I ask your pupil a quick question? Do you know what filter lights are? No, never done them. Do you know the sequence of traffic lights? Yeah, red, amber, green. So suddenly it's not about anticipating, it's not about looking ahead, it's knowledge. They don't know. Could be understanding. Yeah, it's red, amber, green. So they know that they change, but they've got the wrong understanding. Is it a skills issue? Is it confidence? What is the reason for that? Whereas on your pink, you can just be going, go, stop, look further ahead, Chris, look earlier, look to the right. So we need to make sure of that for the part three. Mistake number 6, not encouraging pupil analysis. You don't get the pupil to reflect, to think for themselves. You know the minimum speed limit on this road, don't you, Chris? Or the maximum speed limit on this road? Yes. Okay. But have you taken that further? Do you know the speed limit on this road, Chris? Yeah, 30. How do you know? Well, it's raining. It's always 30 when it's raining. Well, what's the problem with if we exceed the speed limit and say there's a speed camera down the road? Oh, I get the point. Yeah. And what happens if you get caught twice in 2 years as a new driver? Don't know. You get banned. So you've got to sit it all again. Do you want that? No. So are they more likely to not repeat that mistake? Yes. But on the pink, it becomes don't speed, you'll fail your test. Well, that's not them getting the pupil to think about anything. So we need to do that. Mistake number 5, not adapting the lesson plan. Remember on your marking sheet, talks about goals and needs. Well, the goal for today is that we want to get better at judging gaps on roundabouts. So what do we need to do to achieve that? Well, their clutch control isn't brilliant. So therefore, adapt the lesson, change the lesson, go and practice clutch control, or else they'll never be good at gaps on roundabouts because they'll be panicking and worried that they're going to stall or kangaroo it. So deal with that first. And then once they've got good clutch control, they're more likely to find a better gap on the roundabout and become more accomplished at it. On the pink badge, we can just ignore it and just kind of let it ride and go, you missed your gap there, Chris, because they needed a massive gap because they need to take a huge amount of time getting the bike points and pulling out. So adapt the lesson plan. Mistake number 4, not identifying pupil faults. You need to be watching the pupil at junctions, T junctions. The minimum observation is right, left, right. Then they have to look, assess, decide. The amount of times you get trainees coming up to junctions and they're looking past me, looking round me. I hope it's clear. I hope there's no traffic. Well, if you can't see if there's any traffic, then neither can I. And if you're thinking, I hope there's no traffic, otherwise I've got to hit the brakes, then I shouldn't be going, because I, as the pupil, should be looking right, left, right, then deciding. If that hasn't happened, we shouldn't pull out. So you need to be watching the pupil. Are they doing the things that they should? It's not your driving test. It's about you making sure your pupil is doing those things. And remember, observation at junctions as of 2025 is still the number one reason for fail on driving tests. Are you making sure on your pink badge that your learner is doing that? Fault number 3, using wrong phrases at junctions and crossroads. So remember, Chris, as we come up to the junction, look left and right. Really? I thought it was right, left, right again. Remember, Chris, traffic lights is red, amber, and green. Really? Remember, at crossroads, Chris, look right, left, and right. Really? I thought it was right, ahead, left, ahead, and right, like a windscreen wiper. If I'm looking right and left, I'm not looking at the car opposite. So in your marking sheet, that comes down was any technical information given correct. Anything you say about driving is classed as technical information. Remember, Chris, put your signal on, check your mirrors. I'm pretty sure the essential skill says check your mirrors, then put your signal on. So we need to be accurate with what we're saying. Now, on your ping, you can get away with that. On your part 3, you can't. Fault number 2 is the wrong level of instruction. If someone's struggling with something or not very good at something, you need to do a lot of commentary driving to help them get there. As they then get better at it, it becomes prompted, so by means of questions, and then we get to fully guided. So often pupils will struggle and the instructor just sits there and watches them. Well, how's that helping me? We need to match the level of instruction. We're teachers. We're meant to be teaching instead of sitting there going, could have gone then, could have gone then, could have gone then. It's better to alter the level of instruction and say, so looking down the road, Chris, there's 2 cars, but there's a big gap behind them. So let's get the car prepared. And as those cars go past, we can then move into the gap. But also the other way is true, that we over instruct. So if someone's getting good at it and they're checking the mirrors and putting the signal on, and again, the trainee says, so check your mirrors, put the signal on. You're going, why? Yeah. So that's watching the pupil, but also being aware of what's going on. If you see the junction coming up and you know what's going on around you, you know you can then switch to, is the pupil doing what they need? Now, on a pink badge, you'll do that a lot, but on the part 3, it's not good enough. The number one mistake for people on a pink badge failing their ADI Part 3 is they're using the pink badge to earn and not to learn. Basically, they'll be working 40, 45 hours a week. They're not using what we recommend is you use 20 minutes in the middle of each lesson and treat it like a part 3. So with your pupils, pick a subject, do a recap, an experience, ask basic questions. Do they remember how we do this? Do they remember what a safe, legal, and convenient place is if we're doing pulling up and stopping? Ask basic questions. Then the goals by the end of today's lesson. And then if they've got experience at that subject, ask them a few questions. And then go and do it. Try and identify the faults, analyze the faults, fix the faults. Because although it comes down into many subcategories, it's still those basic 3 things. Identify it, analyze it by means of pupil communication, and then fix it. But if you're using the pink badge to earn and you're working all those hours, you won't be doing any of that because you'll be too mentally tired. And you'll know if you're ready for the part 3, because you shouldn't think to yourself, How do I do the part three? You should be doing it every day with your pupils. It should be second nature. So if we can do it this way, give yourself some time to sit, reflect, think about the pupil, use progress books so you know for a fact what they're doing and what they need to be working on. Again, it is so common that part three trainees say, yeah, when my pupil gets in, I just kind of go, so what were we doing last week? Well, is your pupil a fully qualified driver? Are they an advanced driver having passed the ADI part two? Do they know the criteria for teaching the driving syllabus and for you on the part three? No. So they're not going to go, well, I was approaching roundabout slightly too fast. I wasn't doing the proper observation ahead and to the right. I was just kind of staring, even though it was a closed junction. If you're asking that question of your pupil, what were we working on last week? Because you need them to tell you, they are doing your job for you. So practice your part three just for 20 minutes in each pupil's lesson. And it's getting you in that mindset of what the part three is about. So we hope that's helped you understand the part three and avoid some of these pitfalls on your pink badge. My name's Chris from Driver Training. Remember, drive well, teach safely, and we'll see you all again in our next video.